Have you ever sensed a threat you couldn't quite see? That unsettling feeling when something's wrong, but there's no visible danger to point to? In a world obsessed with physical evidence, we've forgotten something crucial. Not all dangers have a face, and not all wounds leave visible scars. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world, and if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Think about it for a moment. Has this ever happened to you? You leave a conversation feeling inexplicably drained, as if something essential was taken from you. Or perhaps you've entered a room and immediately felt the weight of tension that no one is acknowledging. These experiences aren't just in your head. They're real energetic exchanges happening beneath the surface of our everyday interactions. The invisible battlefield of energy is where many of us are wounded daily without ever realizing we're in combat. Like walking through an electromagnetic field without protection, we absorb the stresses, anxieties, and manipulative intentions of others. What's truly alarming isn't just that this happens, but that most of us have never been taught how to defend ourselves. Energetic sovereignty, a term that might sound esoteric but represents something fundamentally practical, is perhaps the most overlooked skill in modern society. It's the forgotten science of maintaining your personal energetic boundaries, of choosing which energies you allow to influence you and which you deflect. Stay with me until the end of this journey, because what you're about to discover might completely transform how you navigate your relationships, work environment, and even casual interactions with strangers. This isn't about becoming paranoid. It's about becoming aware and empowered. Think of the people you know who seem mysteriously immune to drama, those rare individuals who remain centered while others are swept up in emotional chaos. They're not just lucky, they've mastered, consciously or unconsciously, the principles of energetic protection we're about to explore. The greatest theft happening today isn't of material possessions, but of personal energy, clarity, and peace of mind. And unlike physical theft, these crimes leave no evidence, no trail for others to validate your experience. That's why so many sensitive, intuitive people begin to doubt themselves, wondering if they're simply overreacting or imagining things. What if I told you that your intuition about these unseen dynamics is not only valid, but is actually your most sophisticated defense system trying to alert you? What if the vague discomfort you feel around certain people is actually your energetic body's alarm system functioning perfectly? As we continue, we'll delve into the hidden mechanics of energy exchange that occur in every interaction. If these nuanced explorations of the contemplative path resonate with you, please consider subscribing to our community of fellow seekers navigating between the mystical and mundane worlds. In the spiritual battlefield, the difference between hiding and becoming imperceptible is like the gap between surrender and mastery. When you hide, you're operating from a frequency of fear, contracting your energy, dimming your light, essentially becoming smaller to avoid detection. This is survival mode, not thriving consciousness. True invisibility, as this profound audiobook reveals, is actually an expansion of awareness. It's not about making yourself smaller, but about becoming so aligned with the universal frequency that you blend seamlessly with it. Think of a leaf on a tree. From a distance, individual leaves disappear into the collective canopy. They're not hiding, they're part of a greater whole. The transformation happens when you understand that invisibility is vibrational in nature. Those who drain others can only detect what resonates with their frequency. It's like tuning a radio. If you're broadcasting on 98.6 FM, someone tuned to 104.3 FM will never pick up your signal. The audiobook teaches that emotional vampires specifically scan for frequencies of fear, insecurity, and need, the vibrations of potential victims. What's fascinating is how this ancient wisdom applies to modern interactions. Ever notice how some people seem to attract constant drama, while others move through life undisturbed? This isn't random chance. It's vibrational selectivity at work. The undisturbed person isn't necessarily hiding. They've simply mastered their energetic signature. The practical techniques outlined go beyond simple visualization or affirmation. They involve recalibrating your entire energetic field through specific breathing patterns, thought restructuring, and even subtle shifts in how you physically move through spaces. One particularly powerful practice involves what the audiobook calls frequency shifting, the ability to consciously adjust your vibrational output depending on your environment. This isn't about deception or manipulation, it's about sovereignty over your own energy. In a world where so many forces compete for our attention and life force, learning to determine when and where you're detectable is ultimate freedom. The journey toward vibrational invisibility also reveals something unexpected. When you master this ability, you simultaneously develop the capacity to see what others cannot. Your perception sharpens. Those operating at lower frequencies become transparent to you while remaining oblivious to your presence. This creates an interesting dynamic where the masters of invisibility can recognize each other while remaining undetectable to those who haven't awakened to these principles. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by examining the practical applications of these techniques in everyday situations. The audiobook doesn't just present theoretical concepts, it provides a roadmap for implementing this wisdom in your daily interactions. From navigating complex work environments to preserving your energy in challenging family dynamics, these principles transform how you experience the world around you. When you first begin applying these teachings, you'll likely notice subtle shifts in how people respond to you. Individuals who previously seemed drawn to conflict with you might suddenly act as if you're not even in the room when contentious topics arise. If this resonates with your experiences after applying these techniques, write in the comments, "I've become frequency selective." I'd love to know how these practices are manifesting in your reality. These dark entities are drawn to us in ways more subtle than most realize. Think of it as an energy exchange happening beneath conscious awareness. The book outlines how these predatory forces operate on frequencies that specifically resonate with our unhealed wounds and deepest insecurities. When you harbor unresolved trauma or suppressed emotions, you essentially broadcast on a frequency that these entities can detect. It's like walking through a dangerous neighborhood wearing expensive jewelry. You become visible to those looking for vulnerabilities. The more unprocessed emotional baggage you carry, the brighter your signal appears to them. This vibrational matching isn't coincidental. Your energy field contains information about your entire emotional landscape, past wounds, current fears, and deepest desires. These predatory forces don't just randomly select victims, they carefully identify those whose energy signatures suggest they'll be receptive to manipulation. It's a sophisticated targeting system that operates beyond physical perception. What makes this spiritual dynamic particularly insidious is how it transforms our natural human qualities, compassion, desire for connection, need for validation, into potential entry points. For example, someone with abandonment wounds may unconsciously emit an energy signature of desperate attachment, which predatory entities recognize as an opportunity to create codependent relationships that drain life force. The journey toward protection begins with self-awareness. By bringing consciousness to these patterns, you initiate a profound transformation in your energy field. This isn't merely about psychological healing, though that's valuable. It's about energetic sovereignty. When you identify and integrate these wounded aspects, you essentially remove the homing beacons that guide these entities toward you. Behind the scenes of this spiritual battlefield is a remarkable truth. Your consciousness is the ultimate authority over your energy field. No matter how sophisticated these entities' methods may be, they cannot override your conscious choice to reclaim your power. This represents the hidden revolution at the heart of spiritual protection, the recognition that while you may have been unconsciously participating in these dynamics, you hold the master key to changing them. The book reveals how many relationships, career obstacles, and persistent life challenges actually stem from these energetic intrusions. What appears as bad luck or recurring patterns often has roots in these invisible attachments. By elevating your awareness, you begin perceiving the previously hidden influences shaping your reality. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by examining the specific psychological mechanisms these entities exploit. Understanding these tactics creates a powerful shield of discernment that transforms your vulnerability into strength. The revelation here is that protection isn't just about building walls. It's about developing an internal radar system that immediately recognizes manipulation attempts. If what I'm describing resonates with your own experiences, type "I recognize these patterns" in the comments so we can see how many of us are awakening to these hidden dynamics. When we truly grasp the mechanics of toxic resonance, our perspective on spiritual warfare transforms dramatically. Think about it. These predatorial entities aren't simply attracted to any light. They're specifically drawn to the frequencies they can feed upon. It's a sophisticated harvesting system that's been operating in plain sight for millennia. What's particularly fascinating is how this understanding reframes the concept of protection. Most spiritual practices teach us to amplify our light, to shine brighter in the face of darkness. But this conventional wisdom may actually be increasing our vulnerability. The revelation here is quite counterintuitive. Sometimes the wisest defense is to conceal what makes you most radiant. Imagine walking through a dangerous neighborhood with cash hanging out of your pockets. No matter how good your intentions, you've made yourself a target. Similarly, broadcasting your spiritual light indiscriminately is essentially advertising yourself as an energy source to entities that survive by consuming what you naturally generate. This isn't about dimming your inner light permanently. It's about discernment. It's about understanding when to shelter your flame and when to let it shine. The most powerful beings throughout history mastered this balance. They knew precisely when to reveal their radiance and when to move undetected through the spiritual ecosystem. The journey into mastering resonance protection reveals something profound about the nature of spiritual sovereignty. Those who generate the highest frequencies often develop the most nuanced shielding systems. They're not hiding out of fear, they're practicing sophisticated energy management. Consider how even in nature, the most potent medicines are often carefully contained within protective layers. The most nutrient-rich seeds have husks. Pearls form within the protected space of shells. This pattern repeats throughout creation. Valuable essence requires appropriate boundaries. What's transformative about this approach is that it shifts us from a state of perpetual defense to one of strategic concealment and revelation. Rather than constantly battling against negative forces, we simply make ourselves less detectable to those particular resonance hunters. Now I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how different energy signatures attract different types of entities. Not all predatory forces are seeking the same quality of light. Some feed specifically on frequencies of fear, others on misguided devotion, and still others on the particular radiance of creative inspiration. Understanding your unique energy signature is the first step in developing tailored protection. This personalized approach to spiritual security represents a significant evolution in our understanding of metaphysical self-defense. It acknowledges that each of us emanates a distinctive combination of frequencies that makes us more or less appealing to specific entities. When we recognize our individual pattern, we can adjust accordingly. The hidden truth many spiritual teachers miss is that complete invisibility isn't the goal. Strategic visibility is. Knowing when and where and to whom to reveal your light is the masterful middle path. This discernment becomes second nature once you've mapped your own energetic landscape and identified your particular vulnerabilities. If any of this resonates with your experiences, write, "I'm reclaiming my light" in the comments. This recognition marks the beginning of a profound shift in how you navigate the unseen realms. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because understanding how to transmute energy isn't just theoretical. It's a profound transformation that reshapes your entire reality. When you begin practicing these energy awareness exercises, you'll notice something remarkable happening. Your perception shifts. The same situations that once drained you completely might still appear in your life, but your relationship to them fundamentally changes. Think of it like developing a new sensory ability. At first, you might only catch glimpses of your energy patterns, perhaps noticing that tightness in your chest before an argument escalates, or that subtle heaviness that appears when you scroll through certain social media accounts. These are the revelations that most people miss, walking through life, wondering why the same painful scenarios keep finding them. The practice of energy transmutation isn't about escaping your problems. It's about creating an energetic environment where lower vibrations simply cannot sustain themselves. Imagine being in a room where someone is trying to play a sad, slow song, while an upbeat, joyful melody is playing at full volume. The slower song simply gets drowned out. This is the hidden truth behind why some people seem impervious to drama and negativity. They've mastered the art of maintaining their energetic integrity. One particularly powerful exercise involves what I call energetic boundaries reconnaissance. For 3 days, carry a small notebook with you and document moments when you feel your energy shift. Was it after a phone call with a specific person, during a meeting at work, while thinking about a past event? This journey of self-discovery often reveals surprising patterns. You may find that certain environments or relationships are creating energetic leaks you weren't even aware of. The impact of this practice can be profound. Many people discover that what they thought were external problems were actually internal energy patterns being projected outward and then reflected back to them. This is why affirmations alone often fail. You're speaking positive words while maintaining the same underlying energy frequency that created your current circumstances. When you truly begin to transmute your energy, you'll notice that you become increasingly invisible to negative experiences. It's not that difficulties disappear entirely, it's that your relationship to them transforms. You develop a kind of energetic immunity where what once felt like a devastating blow now barely registers as a minor disturbance. Behind the scenes of every relationship difficulty, financial struggle, or health challenge lies an energy pattern. By learning to recognize and transmute these patterns, you're not just changing your thoughts, you're altering the fundamental blueprint from which your life experiences manifest. This process doesn't happen overnight. Like any meaningful change, it requires consistency and patience. The mind will resist, trying to pull you back into familiar patterns, even if those patterns cause suffering. This resistance is actually a good sign. It means you're pushing against the boundaries of your comfort zone, where all real growth happens. As we continue exploring these concepts, I'd love to know if this resonates with your experiences. If you've ever noticed how your energy seems to attract certain situations repeatedly, Write in the comments, "I recognize these patterns." Now I want to go even deeper into how these energy principles manifest in our daily interactions. The fascinating aspect about active neutrality is that it doesn't mean becoming emotionless or detached from the world. Rather, it represents a profound transformation in how we engage with life's inevitable chaos. Think of it as standing in the eye of the hurricane. Everything may be swirling violently around you, but you found that quiet center where clarity exists. Many spiritual teachings touch on this concept, but often what's missing is the distinction between passive and active forms of neutrality. Passive neutrality comes from a place of fear. It's when we shut down, disconnect, or numb ourselves to avoid pain. It's a survival mechanism, but it prevents authentic growth. Active neutrality, on the other hand, is a conscious choice to remain fully present and aware without being swept away by emotional currents. I discovered this distinction during a particularly challenging period in my own journey. External circumstances were pulling me in multiple directions, and I found myself constantly reacting rather than responding. The revelation came when I realized I was confusing non-reaction with true neutrality. I wasn't actually centered. I was suppressing my authentic responses out of fear. The real hidden truth about spiritual neutrality is that it requires tremendous inner strength. It's not about building walls to keep difficult energies out. It's about developing such a solid foundation within yourself that you can allow those energies to pass through you without disturbing your core. This is where the concept intersects with ancient wisdom traditions from across cultures. The Taoist idea of wu-wei, or non-doing, the Buddhist practice of equanimity, and even the Stoic principle of distinguishing between what we can and cannot control. When toxic energy approaches you, whether from a difficult person, a challenging situation, or even your own negative thought patterns, active neutrality gives you a powerful decision point. Instead of automatically absorbing or reflecting that energy, you can observe it with compassion and discernment. This creates a momentary pause, that crucial space between stimulus and response that Viktor Frankl identified as the source of human freedom. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring the practical applications of spiritual neutrality in everyday life. It's one thing to understand the concept intellectually, but the real impact comes when we begin implementing it in our daily interactions. The journey toward mastering this skill involves recognizing your emotional triggers and developing a consistent practice of returning to center. What's particularly fascinating is how this practice ripples outward. When you maintain your neutrality in charged situations, you actually create a field of calm that influences others. I've witnessed this phenomenon in heated discussions where one centered person transformed the entire dynamic of a group. It's not about being passive or withdrawing your voice. Quite the opposite. Active neutrality allows you to speak truth with greater clarity and compassion because you're no longer entangled in defensive reactions. The profound revelations come when we start noticing how much of our emotional turbulence is actually optional. We've been conditioned to believe that certain situations must produce certain emotional responses, but spiritual neutrality challenges this assumption. It asks, what if you could experience life's full intensity without losing your inner balance? This mindset shift doesn't happen overnight. It requires consistent practice and frequent course corrections. The beautiful part is that every challenging interaction becomes an opportunity to strengthen this muscle. Each time you catch yourself being pulled into reaction and consciously choose to return to center, you're rewiring deep neural pathways. If any of this resonates with your experiences, type "Finding My Center" in the comments below. I'm curious to know how many of you have been exploring this aspect of spiritual development in your own lives. This distinction is essential for your energetic protection. Being an empath doesn't mean you must become an emotional sponge for everyone's problems. True empathy requires discernment, the wisdom to recognize when to open your heart and when to maintain healthy boundaries. Think of your energy field as a house. Would you leave your front door open day and night, allowing anyone to wander in? Of course not. Yet many spiritually minded people do exactly this with their energy, creating a revolving door for whatever vibrations happen to be passing by. The transformation comes when you understand that maintaining energetic barriers isn't selfish, it's necessary self-preservation. Just as your physical body needs an immune system to fight off pathogens, your energy body requires protection against psychic intrusions. This is what I call spiritual hygiene, a practice as important as washing your hands or brushing your teeth. Many of us have been conditioned to believe that being spiritual means being available to everyone all the time. This hidden truth can be liberating. The most compassionate people are often those who know when to say no. They understand that you cannot pour from an empty cup. The journey toward energetic sovereignty begins with awareness. Notice how different environments and people affect you. Do certain interactions leave you feeling drained? That's valuable data. Your body is signaling that something in that exchange wasn't energetically aligned with your highest good. Developing this discernment isn't about judgment. It's about recognizing the impact of various energies on your system. When you're in a crowded space, practice visualizing a protective bubble of light surrounding you. This isn't merely visualization. You're actually programming your energy field to maintain its integrity. Another powerful practice involves setting intentions before entering potentially draining situations. Before attending that family gathering or work meeting, take a moment to declare, "I'm present and compassionate while maintaining my energetic boundaries." This simple statement creates a powerful energetic blueprint. Behind the scenes of most empathic burnout is a fundamental misunderstanding. Absorbing others' pain doesn't actually help them. True service comes from maintaining your light so brightly that others can find their way by it, not by dimming yourself to match their frequency. The revelations that come from practicing energetic hygiene can be profound. Many discover that what they thought was anxiety or depression was actually energetic overload, the accumulated weight of carrying others' emotional baggage. When you release this burden, your natural state of well-being often returns effortlessly. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring specific techniques for energetic clearing and protection that anyone can implement immediately. These methods don't require special gifts or years of spiritual training. Just consistent practice and the decision to prioritize your energetic health. If what I've shared resonates with your experience as an empath or sensitive person, write "Boundaries are self-love" in the comments below. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic of silence as a shield. Think about what happens in those moments when you switch off autopilot and truly enter the sanctuary of silence. This practice isn't merely about not speaking, it's a profound energetic transformation that happens when you consciously withdraw from the noise. When you embrace strategic silence, you're essentially creating an invisible force field around yourself. People who constantly drain your energy with their problems, negativity, and chaotic vibrations will naturally begin to sense this barrier. They'll feel a subtle resistance when approaching you, not because you're being rude or distant, but because your energy is no longer available for unconscious consumption. I've witnessed remarkable shifts in my own journey with this practice. There was a period in my life when I felt perpetually depleted, constantly giving away pieces of myself to everyone who asked. The turning point came when I learned to cultivate what I now call sacred pauses. Those deliberate moments of energetic retreat where I choose silence over reflexive response. These sacred pauses become the foundation of your portable sanctuary. Imagine carrying a vibrationally protected space within you at all times. At work meetings, family gatherings, crowded stores, or even digital spaces like social media, this internal sanctuary doesn't depend on external circumstances. It's an energetic decision you make, moment to moment. What's fascinating about this approach is how it reveals the hidden mechanics of energy exchange in our daily interactions. Most people operate from unconscious patterns, automatically plugging into whatever energetic outlets are available. When you close those outlets through intentional silence, you're essentially rewiring the entire dynamic. The beauty of this practice lies in its invisibility. Nobody needs to know you're actively protecting your energy field. There's no confrontation required, no awkward boundaries to verbally establish. The shift happens at a frequency beyond words, where energy speaks to energy directly. This is where many spiritual teachings miss the mark. They focus too heavily on what to say or do, rather than on the vibrational foundation beneath. Your silence becomes a declaration of energetic sovereignty, a statement that says, "My energy is precious and consciously directed, not available for unconscious draining." As you cultivate this practice, you'll notice something remarkable. The quality of your connections actually improves. By preserving your energy through strategic silence, you have more genuine presence to offer during the interactions you choose to engage in. You become more discerning about where your energy flows, which naturally attracts more meaningful exchanges. The ripple effects extend far beyond your immediate experience. As you maintain your energetic boundaries through silence, you unconsciously give permission to others to do the same. You become a living example of what healthy energetic stewardship looks like, inspiring a more conscious approach to interaction in your entire sphere of influence. If you've ever experienced that moment of clarity after spending time in nature or meditation, you've tasted what it feels like to reset your energetic field. The practice of strategic silence allows you to access that reset button anytime, anywhere, making it one of the most powerful tools in your spiritual toolkit. If this approach to energy protection resonates with your experiences, type "Silence is my shield" in the comments below. The concept of sacred opacity is perhaps one of the most transformative mindset shifts I've made in my own journey. Think about it this way: in nature, the most precious resources aren't displayed openly for all to see. Gold is buried deep within the earth, diamonds form under tremendous pressure in darkness, and pearls develop inside the protected space of an oyster shell. There's profound wisdom in this natural design. When we expose ourselves completely to everyone around us, sharing every thought, achievement, or spiritual insight, we often experience an energetic depletion that's difficult to explain. This isn't about becoming secretive or manipulative. It's about honoring the sacred economy of your energy. In the digital age, this practice becomes even more crucial as we're constantly pressured to share, post, and broadcast our lives. I've noticed in my own experience that when I speak about certain intentions or projects before they're fully formed, something curious happens. The energy that would have fueled their manifestation seems to dissipate. Ancient wisdom traditions have long understood this phenomenon. In many spiritual practices, initiates were taught to preserve silence about certain teachings or experiences, not out of elitism, but out of respect for the power contained within them. The revelations that come when you practice sacred opacity are often surprising. You begin to notice how many conversations are actually unnecessary, how many explanations you offer simply out of habit or insecurity. There's an incredible freedom in realizing you don't need to justify your choices, explain your spiritual practice, or defend your perspective to everyone who inquires. This boundary setting creates a container for your personal growth that remains undisturbed by outside opinions. The most significant inner transformations often happen in this protected space, away from the noise of external validation or criticism. When you practice sacred opacity, you're not hiding your light, you're ensuring it has the proper conditions to grow stronger. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by examining how communication itself can become a form of energy leakage. Every time we engage in conversation, we're exchanging not just words, but subtle energy. Many of us unconsciously drain ourselves through habitual oversharing, excessive explaining, or defensive communication patterns. These hidden truths about human interaction aren't often discussed, yet they impact every relationship we have. The audiobook illuminates how becoming conscious of these exchanges allows you to maintain your energetic integrity. It's fascinating to observe how people who have mastered this practice tend to speak with greater precision and authenticity. Their words carry more weight precisely because they aren't carelessly dispersed. They understand that language is a vessel for power, and they use it accordingly. Behind the scenes of every great achievement, you'll find this practice at work. Those who create meaningful change rarely broadcast every step of their process. They understand the delicate nature of new ideas and profound insights, allowing them to develop in protected space before bringing them into the world. If you resonate with what I'm sharing about sacred opacity and the power of protected energy, write "guarding my light" in the comments. This simple practice of conscious communication is just one aspect of a much deeper exploration into how we can preserve our energy while still engaging meaningfully with the world around us. That's the essence of what I call controlled exposure, the art of showing others just enough to satisfy their curiosity without revealing what truly matters to you. Most people make the mistake of thinking privacy is binary, either complete secrecy or total transparency. In reality, there's a sophisticated middle ground where you can appear open while keeping your core protected. Think about how nature works. Many animals display false indicators to confuse predators. The same principle applies to navigating social dynamics. By creating deliberate surface impressions, you give people something to focus on, while your real thoughts, plans, and aspirations remain invisible. It's not about deception, but rather understanding that not everything requires universal disclosure. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring the power of invisible networks. The most effective form of protection often comes not from isolation, but from carefully cultivated relationships with like-minded individuals who understand the value of discretion. These invisible allies form what I call a shadow network, people who support each other without drawing attention to those connections. The key is selectivity. Not everyone deserves access to this inner circle. Look for individuals who demonstrate consistent reliability, who maintain confidences naturally rather than making a show of their discretion. When building these networks, avoid the common pitfall of formalizing the arrangement. The strongest protection systems operate on implicit understanding rather than explicit agreements. Start by offering value first. Protect someone else's confidence, provide support without seeking credit, demonstrate that you understand the importance of maintaining boundaries. These actions signal to potential allies that you grasp the unspoken rules of mutual protection. What's fascinating about these networks is how they create resilience through distribution. When your protection isn't concentrated in a single person or system, it becomes significantly harder for others to breach your defenses. This distributed security approach creates a scenario where even if one element fails, the overall structure remains intact. The transformation happens gradually as you move from vulnerability to security. Most people remain exposed throughout their lives because they never recognize the patterns that repeatedly compromise their position. Breaking this cycle requires a fundamental mindset shift, understanding that true Security isn't about building walls, but rather about controlling what signals you send and to whom. In my experience, this approach creates a remarkable paradox. As you become more selective about your real confidants, you often appear more open to the general public. This happens because you're no longer anxious about potential exposure. You know precisely what's protected and what's available for public consumption. This journey toward invisible security isn't about paranoia or excessive guardedness. It's about creating sustainable boundaries that allow you to operate with greater freedom. When you know your core is protected, you can take more risks in other areas of life. The peace of mind that comes from this approach creates space for bold action in the areas that matter most to you. The hidden truth here is that most people operate with exactly the opposite approach. They appear guarded while actually revealing their most important assets through unconscious signals and poorly chosen confidence. The revelations come when you realize how much control you can reclaim through intentional practices. If what I'm describing resonates with your own experiences with privacy and protection, write shadows and signals in the comments. Now let's explore how these principles apply in specific high-stakes environments. Being alone doesn't mean you're walking a path of fear. In fact, the deliberate choice to embrace solitude often represents the most courageous decision you can make. When you step back from the noise of collective thinking, you create space for your true vibrational signature to emerge. This isn't withdrawal, it's strategic realignment. I've witnessed countless transformation journeys where individuals discovered their greatest strength only after they stopped seeking validation from others. The wisdom that emerges from chosen solitude has a different quality to it. It's not tainted by the need to please or conform. It resonates at a frequency that attracts similar energies without effort or manipulation. Now, about those internal battles we all face, there's a profound revelation here that changed everything for me. Victory isn't found in fighting back against every negative thought or external provocation. The real power lies in remaining untouched, unmoved by the chaos that surrounds you. When someone attempts to pull you into conflict, your non-reaction becomes your greatest weapon. Think about water for a moment. When you throw a stone into a still pond, ripples spread across the surface, but the deeper you go, the less disturbance there is. This is the hidden truth about emotional mastery. Developing that depth where surface provocations can no longer reach you. Not because you've built walls, but because you've developed roots that anchor you beyond the reach of temporary disturbances. The journey to this state isn't always comfortable. Our instinctive reaction is to defend, explain, or counterattack. But what if the highest form of self-defense is simply not participating in battles that don't serve your evolution? This perspective shift creates an entirely different way of navigating difficult relationships and circumstances. Behind the scenes of every spiritual teaching is this fundamental principle: you cannot be defeated in a game you choose not to play. This doesn't mean becoming passive or allowing mistreatment. Rather, it means making conscious decisions about where to invest your precious energy and attention. When you master this art of non-engagement, something remarkable happens. The very situations and people that once triggered you begin to lose their power, not because they've changed, but because you have. Your internal landscape has shifted so dramatically that what once seemed like threats now appear as mere distractions. I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how this vibrational alignment actually creates ripples in your physical reality. When your internal state remains steady regardless of external chaos, you begin operating as a completely different force in the world. Your presence alone becomes a stabilizing influence for others, without you needing to say a word or take any particular action. If this concept of remaining untouched by external provocations resonates with your own experiences or aspirations, write "Inner peace is my power" in the comments below. Non-resistance isn't passive. It's actually one of the most powerful stances you can take in the face of an energy attack. When someone attempts to drain your energy or project negative emotions onto you, your natural instinct might be to put up walls or fight back. But here's the revelation that changed everything for me. Resistance creates connection. When you resist, you're actually forming an energetic tether to exactly what you're trying to avoid. Instead, ancient wisdom traditions offer us a different approach. The Taoists speak of wu wei, or effortless action, the art of allowing negative energy to pass through you without catching on your inner landscape. Imagine yourself as water, where stones can be thrown, but they simply sink to the bottom without disturbing your essential nature. This isn't spiritual bypassing, it's energetic intelligence. One practical technique I've found transformative comes from Tibetan traditions. When you feel someone projecting their emotional state onto you, visualize yourself as completely transparent. See their energy moving through you rather than into you. Their frustration, anxiety, or manipulation has nowhere to land. It simply passes through without affecting your field. The journey toward mastery in this area involves a fundamental mindset shift. We need to move beyond the paradigm of attack and defense altogether. What if, instead of seeing others as potential energy vampires, we recognize that most people are operating from their own wounded places? This perspective isn't about making yourself vulnerable. It's about transforming how you perceive interactions. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how we can remain fully engaged with the world while maintaining our energetic sovereignty. This is the art of serving while shielded, a delicate balance that many empaths and sensitive people struggle with. The hidden truth is that you don't have to choose between protecting yourself and being of service to others. Many of us were taught that selflessness means depleting ourselves for others, but this creates a distorted relationship with giving. True service comes from abundance, not sacrifice. When you're leaking energy, what you're offering others isn't your best. Learning to maintain your energetic boundaries actually enhances your capacity to help others in an authentic way. I discovered a powerful practice from indigenous healing traditions called sacred space setting. Before entering any situation where you'll be helping others, whether that's in your professional role as a parent or simply as a friend, take a moment to clearly define your energetic container. Set an intention that you'll serve from your overflow, not your reserve. This subtle energetic declaration creates an invisible shield that allows your light to shine out while preventing others' energies from seeping in. The impact of this approach goes beyond self-protection. It actually creates a template for others to develop their own energetic sovereignty. When you demonstrate healthy boundaries, you're teaching by example. You're showing that compassion doesn't require energetic merging or absorption of others' emotional states. This isn't about isolation, quite the opposite. True connection happens when two sovereign beings choose to share space and energy consciously. The revelations that come from practicing this way of being can fundamentally transform your relationships, creating more authentic and sustainable connections. Behind all this lies a profound truth. Your energy is both precious and renewable. With the right practices, you can expand your capacity without depleting your essence. The transformation happens when you recognize that maintaining your energetic integrity isn't selfish. It's essential for sustainable service in the world. If what I'm sharing resonates with your own experience of navigating energy dynamics, write in the comments, "Sovereignty serves everyone." I'd love to know if these concepts are mirroring your own path of energetic wisdom. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic of creating portable sanctuaries. These aren't just physical spaces, they're energetic containers that you can establish anywhere. Think of them as invisible shields that maintain your vibrational integrity no matter where you find yourself. The Celtic practitioners understood something profound about human energy. It responds to intention and ritual in ways that transcend our modern understanding of physics. When you consciously create these portable sanctuaries, you're essentially establishing energetic architecture around yourself. The process involves more than just visualization. It's about encoding your personal space with specific frequencies that repel discordant energies. This is particularly valuable when entering environments that might otherwise drain your vitality. Crowded shopping centers, tense work meetings, or even family gatherings where old patterns tend to resurface. The transformation happens on multiple levels. First, there's the immediate shift in how external energies interact with your field. But beyond this protective function, there's a deeper awakening that occurs. You begin recognizing the subtle energetic exchanges happening constantly around you that previously went unnoticed. This awareness becomes its own form of power. Celtic wisdom specifically offers rituals involving the four elements, earth, air, fire, and water, to anchor these sanctuaries. By symbolically invoking these elements through simple gestures or carrying small representations, a stone, a feather, a candle, or a tiny vial of water, you create a complete energetic circuit that remains intact regardless of external circumstances. The hidden truth here is that these elements exist within us already. The rituals simply activate their protective qualities. What's particularly fascinating about this approach is how it combines both ancestral knowledge and quantum understanding. Modern physics increasingly confirms what ancient cultures intuited, that intention affects energy at fundamental levels. Your personal sanctuary becomes a consciously created field that operates according to your specifications, rather than defaulting to the dominant energies surrounding you. The journey toward energetic sovereignty involves recognizing that most people unconsciously absorb whatever frequencies dominate their environment. Think about how quickly your mood can shift when entering certain spaces or interacting with specific people. These portable sanctuaries create a buffer zone that allows you to remain present without becoming energetically entangled. The revelations come when you begin practicing these techniques consistently. Many report experiencing a profound sense of centered calm, even in situations that previously triggered stress responses. There's an internal recalibration as your system learns to maintain its coherence despite external disruptions. You're essentially teaching your energy body to hold its signature pattern regardless of surroundings. Behind the scenes of this practice is a fundamental shift in how you perceive yourself in relation to others. Rather than seeing yourself as energetically vulnerable, you recognize your inherent ability to establish boundaries that honor both yourself and those around you. These boundaries aren't walls, they're selective membranes that allow beneficial exchanges while filtering out what doesn't serve your highest good. The impact extends beyond personal protection. As you maintain clearer energy, you naturally influence the fields around you. Without conscious effort, you begin creating more harmonious environments simply through your presence. This ripple effect represents one of the most powerful aspects of maintaining energetic clarity. If you're exploring these concepts and finding they resonate with your experiences, write in the comments, "I'm reclaiming my energetic sovereignty." Now, I want to explore how these same principles can be applied to create more permanent sacred spaces in your home. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic of inner strength and spiritual autonomy. When we cultivate genuine self-reliance, we're not just building a shield against external influences. We're actually awakening a dormant power that most people never fully access. This journey towards spiritual sovereignty represents one of the most profound transformations available to us as human beings. Think about the subtle ways dependency manifests in your life. Many of us believe we're independent thinkers while unconsciously seeking validation from spiritual communities, teachers, or traditions. The revelation here is that even the most well-intentioned spiritual groups can inadvertently foster a form of psychological dependency that stunts our growth. The unseen truth is that the universe doesn't reward those who outsource their spiritual authority. When we constantly look to others for guidance, we're essentially telling our higher self, "I don't trust you enough." This hidden dynamic creates an energetic ceiling that limits how far we can evolve. What's fascinating about mastering your own field of consciousness is how it ripples into every area of life. People who've embraced this path often describe a remarkable shift in how reality responds to them. Decisions become clearer, synchronicities increase. There's an unmistakable sense of being in the flow of life, rather than swimming against it. Consider the paradox at work here. By becoming more self-contained spiritually, you actually become more connected to everything. This isn't isolation, it's integration at a higher level. When you're no longer frantically seeking approval or validation from spiritual authorities, you create space for authentic wisdom to emerge from within. The process requires courage, especially when we've been conditioned to believe that spiritual development necessarily involves subordinating our discernment to those further along the path. Breaking free from this mindset is like stepping out of a comfortable but limiting room into a vast landscape of possibility. I've noticed that people who master this balance between openness and discernment develop an almost uncanny ability to detect manipulation. It's as if their internal compass becomes so finely calibrated that attempts to influence them create an immediate dissonance they can feel. This isn't paranoia, it's precision. The journey towards spiritual self-reliance isn't about rejecting community or connection. It's about ensuring that when you do engage, you're doing so from a place of wholeness rather than neediness. Your participation becomes a gift rather than a desperate attempt to fill an inner void. What's often overlooked is how this inner sovereignty creates ripple effects in the collective. Each person who refuses to outsource their spiritual authority becomes a living example that inspires others. It's a quiet revolution that happens one awakened consciousness at a time. The beauty of this approach is that it honors both personal freedom and universal connection. You're not claiming to know everything, you're simply reclaiming your right to be the final authority on your own experience. There's profound humility in acknowledging that no external source, however wise, can know what's right for your unique path. If you're resonating with any of this, if something inside you is being stirred by these ideas, I invite you to write in the comments, "I claim my spiritual authority." This simple declaration can be a powerful first step in recognizing where you may have given away your power and beginning the journey to reclaim it. When we tap into that sacred connection with our essence, something extraordinary happens. It's not just a philosophical concept, it's a tangible wellspring that begins to flow from within us, providing energy that doesn't deplete like the artificial stimulants so many of us rely on daily. This inner source is remarkably resilient. Think about it. When you're connected to your essence, external circumstances lose their power to completely derail you. This transformation in your energetic state doesn't happen overnight. The audiobook walks you through specific practices designed to reinforce your energetic field. Imagine your personal energy as a garden that needs tending. Without proper boundaries, anyone can walk through, trampling your carefully cultivated space. These protective patterns serve as the fence that maintains your sanctuary. What's fascinating about this approach is how it reframes the concept of boundaries. Many of us were raised to believe that always being available to others is virtuous, that saying no is somehow selfish. But this perspective represents a profound misunderstanding of energy management. The wisest among us know when to seclude themselves from external discord, not out of fear or avoidance, but from a place of self-respect and energetic intelligence. I discovered this truth during a particularly chaotic period in my life. Every notification, conversation, and obligation seemed to extract something from me until I felt completely hollow. The journey back to wholeness began when I learned to distinguish between connections that nourished me and those that subtly drained my life force. This wasn't about becoming antisocial. It was about becoming selective about where my precious energy flowed. The hidden revelation here is that proper energetic boundaries actually enhance our ability to be present with others. When we're not constantly leaking energy, we can show up more fully, more authentically in our relationships and work. This creates a paradoxical effect. By sometimes pulling back, we can actually give more of ourselves when it truly matters. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring the practical techniques the audiobook offers for maintaining this energetic sovereignty. These aren't complicated rituals requiring special tools or environments. They're subtle, yet powerful adjustments to how you navigate everyday situations. The brilliance lies in their simplicity. These practices can be implemented whether you're sitting in a crowded subway car or preparing for an important meeting. The impact of these techniques builds gradually. At first, you might notice small changes. Perhaps you feel less exhausted after social gatherings, or you recover more quickly from challenging interactions. Over time, these benefits compound. Many practitioners report a profound shift in how they experience life's inevitable tensions and conflicts. Rather than being pulled into every emotional whirlpool around them, they maintain a centered awareness that allows for compassionate engagement without energetic entanglement. What's particularly valuable about this approach is how it honors individual difference. Your energetic boundaries will look different from mine because our sensitivities and needs are unique. The audiobook doesn't prescribe a one-size-fits-all solution, but instead guides you through a process of discovering what true protection means for your specific constitution and life circumstances. This journey toward energetic sovereignty represents one of the most important undertakings of our time. In an age of unprecedented connectivity and stimulation, learning to discern where our energy goes and reclaiming our right to direct it consciously might be the most revolutionary act we can engage in. If what I've shared resonates with your experiences navigating today's energetically demanding world, type "protection activated" in the comments below. The blending of seen and unseen is indeed a mastered art form, one that few truly understand in its complexity. When you develop this skill, you create an extraordinary paradox in your daily existence. Physically present, yet energetically sovereign. This isn't about becoming invisible. It's about becoming energetically discerning in a world that constantly demands your attention and energy. Think about the last time you felt completely drained after spending time with certain people. That wasn't coincidental. It was an energetic transaction you weren't prepared to navigate. The wisdom contained within vibrational transmutation teachings reveals that these energy exchanges happen constantly, often without our conscious awareness or consent. What's fascinating about this journey is the profound transformation that occurs when you first recognize the invisible architecture of interactions around you. The subtle, energetic fingerprints left on everything you engage with begin to appear more clearly. You develop what ancient practitioners called the second sight. Not psychic abilities in the Hollywood sense, but rather a refined awareness of energetic imprints that most people miss entirely. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring what happens during this awakening process. Many practitioners report a period of revelations that can feel overwhelming at first. The veil between worlds thins, and suddenly you're processing information on multiple levels simultaneously. This is where adaptive techniques become essential. They're the stabilizing mechanisms that allow you to function in ordinary reality while maintaining access to these expanded perceptions. The hidden truth is that energetic integrity isn't just a spiritual concept. It has practical implications for everything from your physical health to your decision-making ability. When your energy field is compromised, your clarity of thought diminishes. You become more susceptible to external influences and less connected to your inner guidance system. It's like trying to hear a whisper in a crowded room. Technically possible, but practically challenging. These adaptive techniques work through a process that might best be described as conscious boundary creation. Unlike defensive shields that require constant maintenance, these boundaries function more like intelligent membranes, selectively permitting nourishing energies while naturally redirecting disruptive influences. Once established, they require minimal conscious attention to maintain. The journey toward mastering this skill unveils another fascinating revelation. What once required deliberate practice eventually becomes your natural state of being. The hypervigilance that might characterize early stages gradually transforms into an effortless awareness. You'll find yourself automatically processing energetic information and making adjustments without having to think about it explicitly. This behind-the-scenes work changes how you move through the world. Situations that would have previously left you depleted or emotionally entangled become opportunities for deeper understanding. You begin to recognize patterns in collective energy fields, the unspoken emotional currents running through organizations, families, or even geographic locations. This awareness doesn't separate you from these environments. Rather, it allows you to engage more meaningfully while maintaining your essential wholeness. The audiobook's approach to teaching these skills acknowledges something crucial. Everyone's energetic sensitivity and processing is uniquely their own. There is no one-size-fits-all prescription for maintaining energetic integrity. Instead, you're guided through a process of discovery that honors your individual constitution and life circumstances. Some will naturally gravitate toward more structured practices, while others will develop more intuitive, fluid approaches. Both paths are equally valid and effective when aligned with your authentic nature. If you're resonating with these concepts, type "Sovereignty Awakened" in the comments below. I'm curious to know how many of you are already sensing these subtle dynamics in your daily interactions. It's these moments of awareness that truly transform our energetic practice. When we engage with others, whether in casual conversation or deeper exchanges, our energy naturally reaches out, connecting like invisible tendrils seeking contact. This unconscious sharing happens constantly, and most people never realize they're establishing energetic bridges with everyone they encounter. The subtlety I mentioned comes into play when you become conscious of these connections. Rather than abruptly cutting all energetic ties or remaining completely closed off, the art lies in maintaining a gentle awareness of where your energy flows. Think of it as selective permeability, allowing nurturing exchanges while preventing energy vampirism. I've observed how many spiritual seekers make the critical mistake of operating at extremes, either completely open and vulnerable to every energy they encounter, or so tightly sealed that they block positive connections along with the negative. The hidden truth is that energetic mastery requires discernment rather than blanket policies. When you feel that familiar drain after certain interactions, it's not just coincidence or mere tiredness. Those moments reveal where your energy boundaries need reinforcement. Pay attention to the subtle sensations in your body during conversations, the slight constriction in your chest, the cooling sensation along your arms, or the sudden heaviness in your shoulders. These physical manifestations are your body's intelligence, communicating crucial information about your energetic exchanges. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic of aura protection. The concept of closing one's aura often gets misinterpreted as creating an impenetrable shield, but the most effective protection actually functions more like a selective filter. Your energetic field naturally wants to breathe, to exchange with its environment, but it needs guidance on what to permit and what to reject. Imagine your aura as a semi-permeable membrane rather than a solid wall. This perspective shift transforms how you approach energetic wellness. Instead of constantly being on guard, which itself depletes energy, you can establish standing intentions that operate automatically, like immune system functions that don't require conscious control for every interaction. The journey toward energetic sovereignty involves recognizing that certain frequencies naturally repel each other. When you cultivate specific resonances within your field, compassion without attachment, presence without absorption, awareness without judgment, you create an environment where lower vibrations simply cannot take hold. It's not about fighting negative energy, but about maintaining a state where such energies find no purchase or resonance. This selective openness represents spiritual maturity. It acknowledges that we live in an interconnected world while honoring our right to energetic boundaries. The revelation many miss is that true protection comes not from isolation, but from vibrant, conscious connection on your own terms. During your daily interactions, practice momentary check-ins with your energy field. Notice how it expands and contracts in response to different people and environments. This awareness itself becomes a protective mechanism as energy follows attention. Where you place your consciousness, energy naturally follows and organizes itself accordingly. If you're resonating with these concepts and beginning to recognize these patterns in your own life, write "I'm reclaiming my energy" in the comments. This simple declaration can serve as a powerful intention setter as you continue developing these practices. The sacred art of energetic boundaries isn't just about putting up walls, it's about curating the very atmosphere of your existence. Think of it as designing the architecture of your spiritual home. Some rooms remain private sanctuaries, while others become gathering spaces for kindred souls. This balance creates a transformative equilibrium between connection and protection. I've discovered that most empaths and spiritually sensitive individuals experience energy depletion not because they lack strength, but because their boundaries resemble Swiss cheese, inconsistent and full of openings they aren't even aware of. The hidden truth here is that many of us were conditioned from childhood to remain energetically available to others, particularly those who couldn't regulate their own emotional states. This is where the journey towards sovereignty begins, not with aggression or fear, but with loving discernment. Imagine your energy field as a luminous sphere that surrounds you completely. Within this sphere, you establish clear protocols: what energies can enter, what must remain outside, and what requires an invitation. This isn't selfishness, it's spiritual wisdom that honors both yourself and others through clarity. The profound impact of establishing these boundaries often reveals itself in unexpected ways. Relationships that were once draining suddenly transform or naturally dissolve. Creative insights flow more readily. Physical symptoms that seemed mysterious begin to resolve themselves. Your decisions become clearer, stemming from your authentic core rather than external influences. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how these boundaries manifest in daily interactions. There's a fascinating paradox at work. The stronger your boundaries become, the more genuinely available you are to meaningful connections. Without the constant drain of energetic intrusions, you discover reserves of compassion and presence you didn't know you possessed. Some spiritual traditions actually teach specific visualization techniques to reinforce these boundaries. Imagine a golden light emanating from your heart center, expanding outward to form a perfect sphere around your body. This sphere is permeable to love and aligned energies, while gently deflecting discordant vibrations. The beauty in this practice lies not just in protection, but in discernment. Your energy field becomes intelligent, responding appropriately to different frequencies. The revelations that emerge from this practice often shake the very foundation of how we understand human interaction. Without the constant interference of incompatible energies, your intuition sharpens dramatically. You begin to sense the underlying currents of situations long before they manifest physically. This isn't supernatural, it's your natural state when your energy isn't being scrambled by external static. Behind the scenes of every spiritual awakening is this fundamental shift in boundary consciousness. It's rarely discussed openly because it challenges the prevailing mindset that accessibility equals spiritual virtue. The truth is that even the most compassionate spiritual teachers maintain impeccable energetic boundaries. It's what allows them to remain effective conduits without becoming depleted. As you implement these practices, pay close attention to the subtle shifts in your daily experience. Notice how certain spaces feel different, how some conversations leave you energized rather than exhausted, how your dreams become more vivid and meaningful. These are the whispers of your energy system, thanking you for honoring its inherent wisdom. If you're resonating with what I'm sharing here, type "Sovereignty Awakened" in the comments. It's a powerful affirmation of your commitment to this path of energetic integrity. This energetic language is quite remarkable when we start to notice it in our everyday interactions. Consider how we instinctively feel when someone enters a room with anxious energy versus calm confidence. Even without words, their frequency communicates volumes. This is the hidden dimension of boundary setting that transforms how others respond to us. What's fascinating is that this energetic communication exists whether we're conscious of it or not. Every thought pattern, emotional state, and belief we carry radiates outward, creating what I call an energetic signature that others detect and respond to on a subconscious level. When we operate with unclear boundaries internally, we broadcast availability for intrusion externally. The journey toward energetic sovereignty begins with a profound inner shift. Rather than viewing boundaries as walls we build against others, we can recognize them as clarifications of our own sacred space. This perspective transforms boundary setting from a defensive posture to an act of self-honoring that others naturally respect. I've witnessed remarkable transformations when people align their energetic frequency with their spoken boundaries. A client of mine struggled with colleagues constantly interrupting her work and demanding immediate attention. Despite verbally requesting space, the interruptions continued until she addressed her internal pattern of prioritizing others' needs above her own. The revelation came when she realized her energy was conveying "I am available," while her words said otherwise. This inner alignment creates what I call effortless boundaries, where minimal external enforcement is needed because your energy does the speaking for you. It's like the difference between constantly having to push against a current versus simply redirecting the flow of the river. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring the practical applications of energetic mastery in daily life. The beauty of this approach is that it doesn't require you to become more confrontational or rigid, quite the opposite. When your energetic and verbal messages align, interactions become more authentic and less fraught with tension. Consider the powerful distinction between visibility and availability. Many of us conflate these concepts, believing that being seen means being accessible to everyone at all times. This misconception leads to energetic depletion as we unconsciously broadcast constant availability. True sovereignty comes from understanding that you can be fully present and visible while simultaneously being selective about where your energy flows. This revelation often brings profound relief to those who felt trapped in cycles of overgiving and resentment. The ability to occupy your space fully while maintaining clear energetic boundaries is not just liberating personally. It fundamentally shifts how others experience you. There's something magnetic about someone who knows their worth without needing to announce it at every turn. Mastering your energetic field also brings remarkable clarity to your decision-making process. When you're no longer absorbing and responding to everyone else's energies, you gain access to your own inner guidance system. This allows you to navigate life choices from a centered place, rather than the exhausting pattern of constantly reacting to external demands. I've found that this internal clarity eventually manifests as external alignment, where opportunities and relationships naturally organize themselves around your authentic energy. It's as if the universe responds to the coherence you've established within yourself, bringing experiences that match your true frequency, rather than the one you've been projecting out of habit or obligation. If what I'm sharing resonates with your experiences of setting boundaries or navigating relationships, right energy speaks louder in comments below. Now let's explore how these principles apply in specific challenging dynamics that test our boundaries daily. You'll discover that this wisdom of camouflage isn't about deception, but discernment. The true artistry lies in carrying your spiritual luminescence within you, like a hidden flame that warms you from the inside, rather than a beacon that attracts every moth in the vicinity. This protection of your inner sanctuary becomes essential when transitioning from retreat back into the cacophony of daily life. Think of it like this. Have you ever returned from a peaceful vacation only to feel your newfound tranquility evaporate within hours of dealing with work emails or family demands? That jarring transition mirrors the challenge spiritual practitioners face when re-entering society after profound inner work. The contrast can be shocking to your system. What we're navigating here is the delicate balance between authenticity and boundaries. The journey inward equips you with treasures that transform your perception, but not everyone in your life is prepared to receive or respect these revelations. This isn't elitism, it's energetic stewardship. I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring the actual mechanics of maintaining your energetic integrity during social re-engagement. When you've expanded your consciousness through retreat or practice, you become more porous, more sensitive to the energies around you. This heightened awareness is both a gift and a vulnerability. The ancient spiritual traditions understood this paradox well. The Taoist masters spoke of hiding the light, not to diminish it, but to protect its development. Buddhist practitioners recognized that the middle path meant neither flaunting spiritual attainments nor denying them completely. The wisdom lies in the subtle middle ground. Consider developing what I call energetic dimmer switches, the ability to modulate how much of your full radiance you allow to shine in different contexts. This isn't about being fake or compartmentalizing your life. It's about reading the room energetically and offering what serves the highest good in each situation. Sometimes, the most spiritually advanced action is simply listening to a friend without trying to fix their perspective. Other times, it might mean gently introducing a new concept when you sense an opening. The discernment comes in knowing the difference, in recognizing when someone is genuinely seeking wisdom, versus when they're simply looking for validation or distraction. I've found that one of the most powerful techniques for maintaining your center during reintegration is developing a strong internal observer. This is the part of you that can simultaneously engage in conversation while watching the entire exchange with loving detachment. It notices when your energy starts to leak or when you begin absorbing someone else's heaviness. This witness consciousness becomes your greatest ally in navigating social terrain. There's a profound transformation that occurs when you master this art of conscious camouflage. Rather than feeling that you need to hide your true self, you realize you're simply choosing the most skillful expression of your truth in each moment. This creates a sense of empowerment rather than constraint. The hidden revelation in this approach is that you actually become more effective at sharing your gifts when you do so with this level of discernment. Your words carry more weight when they're offered at the right moment to receptive ears. Your presence becomes more impactful when it's not constantly diffused across every interaction. Behind the scenes of spiritual development, the masters have always known that true wisdom includes knowing not just what to reveal, but when and how. This isn't spiritual gatekeeping. It's the recognition that consciousness unfolds in stages, and meeting people where they are is an act of compassion. If what I'm sharing resonates with how you've been navigating your own spiritual path in the world, type "Guardian of my light" in the comments. Now, I want to go even deeper into practical techniques for maintaining this delicate balance. If you've stayed with me through this exploration of spiritual discernment, I want to thank you. Learning to protect your inner light while still shining authentically is perhaps one of the most sophisticated skills on the spiritual path. I create these videos because I believe these nuanced conversations about spiritual life are essential for those walking between worlds, the contemplative and the everyday. If you found value in these insights, consider subscribing to join our community of practitioners navigating these same waters. Did this message speak directly to your experience? If so, type "Guardian of my light" in the comments. I'd love to know who's walking this path alongside me. If you appreciated this perspective, a like helps others find this conversation too, creating a ripple effect of understanding in our collective. There's a video right here about creating morning rituals that preserve your spiritual energy throughout the day. It pairs perfectly with what we've discussed. Click through when you're ready to continue our conversation there.